some content out. Oh, by the way, hello viewers. Mornings. Another beautiful day. Hope your five senses work, health, and strength is good or excellent. I said mornings. It's 12 o'clock right now. At night, that is. Anyway, what I got? Let's see here. 33-year-old Amiga OS for Commodore computers get an unexpected update. Classic Motorola 6080x0 friendly Amiga OS 3.2.3 release with over 50 fixes and enhancements. Hey, why not? Says here works continue on Amiga OS 3.2 with the stewards of the classic Motorola 680x100 friendly operating system Hyperion Entertainment released version 3.2.3 a few days ago. In a news bulletin on the official site, Hyperion highlights that the third update for the Amiga OS 3.2 includes 2 years of more than 50 fixes and enhancement. It is what remarkable that works with the Amiga OS 3.x continues in 2025, given that the Commodore 64 International released Amiga OS 3.0 in 1992 with Commodore Amiga 1200, followed by 3.1 with the launch of the Amiga CD32 in 1993. Hyperion began its quest to modernize and improve this classic versions of Amiga OS for Motorola 680x100 platform in 2018 when it released version 3.1.4. The Amiga OS 3.2 lineage began in 2021, and then it says Reaction Classics have received numerous of updates. Reaction is the newest OS object-oriented widget toolkit engine, originally a third-party enhancement. It is now recommended the toolkit for GUI programming under Amiga OS. Text editor now allows users to define a custom menu with macros. 12 kilobytes of a chip RAM is no longer receive. A new Kickstart 3.2.3 ROM is available. At least 50 other fixes include updates to Disk Doctor and HD Toolbox. Well, hey, why not? You know, if there's a user base for it, why not? You know. Now you're probably gonna say, okay, if that's the case, then maybe Windows 2000 and XP need some updates. Just saying, I'm seeing messed around here. It says here, what about Amiga OS 4.x? Commodore demise came in 1994, and this is why the development of Amiga OS became fragmented and sporadic from the time, with licensing changing hands and no clear hardware platform to drive it forward. 1994 is the same year that Apple began its switch from the 680K to PowerPC architecture. So an Amigan living through this difficult time naturally envisioned a PowerPC would be the right direction for advanced Amiga OS development. Thus, you'll find various Amiga OS 4.x release, which aren't newer than 3.x release. They are simply versions of dedicated to PowerPC platforms. There also exist branch of Amiga style and compatible OSs such as Morph OS, PowerPC again, that's in parentheses, it says here, and AROS and x86 PowerPC. These will take you even further from the classic home computer platform and apps and games most of you will be familiar with from the late 1980s to early 90s. And then it says this release is provided as a free update to owners of Amiga OS 3.2. If you don't already have this OS, you can get it now at the official reseller like Retro Passion UK. Though it works with ROMs as old as Kickstarter 3.1, it is recommended you also upgrade your ROM to 3.2.3. And it says here Nowadays, ARM-based accelerators seems to be the path forward for modern Amiga, as opposed to retro Amiga enthusiasts. And Amiga OS 3.2.3 has a feather in its cap, as it also supports classic 680K Amigas, boosted by ARM's accelerators such as PyStorm. However, even the most basic A500 with lowly MC68000 is capable of being updated to run this OS. It says the new Amiga hardware. Retro Game previously talked about a full-size Amiga console launch in Q4 of 2024. That time has come and gone, and we've seen murmuring about disputes regarding the software/OS side of the package. Hyperion new management, December 2024, denies it had anything to do with this delay, insisting that Retro Game hasn't reached out to them yet, but it is happy to start discussion. Hey, if there's a user base for this, for the Amiga OS 3.2, nice little decent user base. Hey, why not? You know, why not? You know, you see OS. You seen like older with Windows operating system. You know, you see older OS are still being used, like Windows XP. You know, because of Firefox. You know, people are still using it. 7 and Vista people are still using. So yeah, Amiga OS. Hey, why not, man? If the operating system is still good for something, hey, give it a little update every now and then. That should do it. Yeah, we got four comments here. Let's see here. Let's see. Monique said this reaction. That sounds like they took Tim Aston third-party class action 00 GUI libraries and renamed them CA. By far the best programmer GUI toolkit back in mid-late 90s, for less buggy than the older MUI Magic User Interface. Then Blast said this: Workbench was so much better to use than Windows 95. My hope is there is a parallel universe where they didn't mess it up, and Amiga is now a dominant computer platform. Smiley face. Then who's this? Nab said this: might have to go looking for my Amiga VM and see if I can load 3.2, the HDD file on my Amiga 2000 about a decade ago, so it will have to be a VM. And then Find said this: the number 33 is a bit weird. The Amiga is turning 40 years this year, as it was the first release in 1985. Amiga OS 3.2 was released 33 years ago, back in 1992. But the last Amiga OS released by Commodore was Amiga OS 3.1 in 1993-1994. First for the Amiga CD32. I tried it out on my A1200 back in '94, but never burned any EPROM with it. I think also some Amigas sold by Eshcom came with it. Hyperion released Amiga OS 3.2 in 2021. This is the 4th revision of the 3.2. Well, users sharing their experience with this. Hey, if it's still good for something, maybe it could still be used. You know, yeah. And this is why this is why some people have moved on from older OS. You know, because it fits their style and their needs. You know, so yeah, you just keep on using it. But thanks to Firefox, you know, when some older Windows OS are still being used. Anyway, and then who is this? Terry respond to Cap. He said this: it's standard IDE. If you don't want to mess with it, old IDE drive, get an IDE to SD card adapter from eBay. That way you can set up a WB on the SD card on your PC and use it on the Amiga to transfer files over as well. Also, are you calling Win UAE and VM, or are you using something else? And then New said this: Amiga OS should be modernized and released on PC and compete against Linux. Okay. And then Terry, he said this. He responding to Tech. He said he sent him a link. You know. So yeah. 8 comments, man. Yeah. If there's still a user base for it, Amiga competing with Linux, when Linux got so many distros right now, that'd be a battle within itself, man, because there's a lot of people that love using Linux, you know. Yeah. And speaking of Linux, there's an article here on the best Linux OS, but when it comes to Linux, you know, you gotta have different computers with different OS to see which one meets your needs, you know. But the OS that it's talking about is for older machines, though. But other than that, man, hey, if there's still a user base for Amiga, well, then there it is, you know. Yeah. I haven't seen a desktop interface like this in a while too. The last time I saw something like this was Windows 95. Yeah. Hey, but older OSs with their interface, you know, some people just want one good OS with a good interface, and they're good, you know. So and they'll continue using that OS for days and years on end. But the Amiga, still getting a little update. That's what you call love, you know. It means that the fans of the Amiga is not forgotten, you know. So yeah. Anyway, I'm gonna leave this video for y'all to enjoy it. Nice talking to you people again. Crystal, Star Wars, such a thing. Dark side. Calm. Peace.